Blizz near side, dangles around the defender, shoots, big blocker save. And now we're going to get some fisticuffs thrown around here. And another fresh episode of the Blizz Show podcast coming to you from inside Larson Ice Center. We're actually not outside, and we're actually inside the concourse area here. We're here with one of the heavy hitters, the Beverly Hills, Michigan product. Always love talking to the Michigan guys because we also can bond over the Red Wings for the next 20 minutes or so. It's Mr. Sam Antenucci rocking the Colorado College sweatshirt. How you doing today, Sam? Good?
I'm great. How are you, Weston?
I'm doing good. Did you have a good practice today?
Yeah. We're getting ready for the weekend. We got a game tomorrow and take the rest of the weekend off and just kind of get back on track from our 6-game losing streak.
That's good, man. You're the heavy hitter. You're the heavy scorer for this team right now. You know, you're kind of looked at as the guy right now. And how do you feel a sense of responsibility to keep putting the biscuit in the back of the net, if you want to call it that?
Yeah, I feel some sort of responsibility, but also there's the fact that I gotta, give it to other guys too.
Yeah. You
gotta create space for other guys.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't all just come from yourself. I look at other guys, too, to really inspire me in offense. We got older guys like Vince, Gabe, that two guys who have a lot of skill, and they really kind of show an example for me of how to make space for myself.
Right.
Vince hasn't played yet, but I saw him a little bit last year, and he's something special to watch.
Yeah, he is. And from what I heard, he's got some sick set of mitts on him. So I'm excited to see him play with you potentially on the same line. But let's go back to your childhood and let's kind of work our way up to the Blizzard a little bit. So Beverly Hills, Michigan. So for those who don't know where that is, how far is that from Detroit?
It's about 30 minutes north of Detroit, right outside Birmingham, Michigan.
Perfect. Oh, I got an uncle who lives in Birmingham, Michigan. He's going to be watching this. He's going to love to hear that. So Beverly Hills, Michigan. Now, you probably went to a bunch of Red Wings games as you were a kid. You had a bunch of options to be able to go and watch the Red Wings or the Tigers or the Pistons or Lions or whatever your interest was lying there. But specifically, on the ice specifically, growing up in Michigan, who were your biggest mentors, whether it was a Red Wings player or your old man or whoever it was? Who were your biggest motivators on the ice?
I mean, I got to give it to my dad, the guy who really drove me to play hockey. He was always undersized growing up, and he just loved to play the game for fun. He went to Michigan Tech and played club hockey there with all of his buddies from his frat house and everything. So when I grew up, he got me in a pair of skates at about the age of 3, and I just grew to love the game from there.
Has it always been hockey?
It's always been hockey. I've played pretty much every sport except football, but once it came to high school, I dropped everything. Played a little bit of high school golf, but that's when hockey really took off from there.
Golf, you look like you got a good swing on your golf. I didn't see it at the golf scramble. Did you actually play when we went to the scramble?
I played with Alex Mosquera, who's not here anymore, Andrew Meiniger, and Mosquera's dad.
I should have remembered that because now I remember seeing you. That's right.
Yep.
And I remember you're one of the first guys' names I remember, too, because I said I was not good with names, but your name was just recognizable. So now I remember. It's all coming back to me. So many fun memories at first. So we talked about on the ice a little bit in Michigan. So off the ice, Michigan to me is just a great place for a kid to grow up.
Yep.
I mean, my uncle's raising his kids there. They grew up in Birmingham. You mentioned it really close. Detroit. Contrary to popular belief, I think Detroit is a really good city. And I think it's a great place for a kid to grow up. From outside the rink, what was it like for you?
You know what? It was really nice in Birmingham or the Beverly Hills area. We have so many schools to choose from, and everything is really close to us. I mean, driving to school every day was about a 7-minute drive, and I could even walk there going to elementary school. When I went to middle school, it was about a 10, 15-minute drive, and high school was 10 minutes. So everything's really close, and I even had schools closer to that I could have gone to, but I just chose to follow where my sister went and, just kind of learn from there because we knew that my sister had a really good experience at the middle school that I went to, and I just went there and I loved it and never looked back from it. So
away from the rink, what were some of your favorite memories growing up in Michigan specifically?
At Red Wings games, I always loved going to those, especially with my team. When I was growing up playing hockey, I played with like 2,000 age groups. Yeah. So I played up, and every year during Halloween we'd go to Erebus, the haunted house in Pontiac. That was always a fun time. I think we did it 4 years in a row and just made it a tradition.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good stuff, man. That's good to hear that you had the Red Wings to rely on. And I bet going to Joe Louis Arena wasn't too shabby of a thing either.
Oh, it was a great place to go.
The Joe or Little Caesars Arena?
God, I love Little Caesars with all the new technology and how it looks and all the clubs, but just the nostalgia of Joe Louis right now, it still hits home. Maybe LCA will grow into it because I mean, the Wings got to win a cup there first before I can say Little Caesars over Joe Louis.
So speaking of Little Caesars, that transitions well into out of your childhood, you've established that hockey's what you want to do. You get to middle school, and for goodness sake, you start playing already kind of at a junior level, at a competitive level with the very prestigious Little Caesars program. And Nick already mentioned a little bit kind of what Little Caesars is and the organization and how they do things and specifics in the little nuts and bolts of it. But you played 2 years for it at first. So those first 2 years specifically, before we get into your last 3, those first 2 years, what kind of adjustment was that for you playing competitive junior hockey?
It was a pretty big difference. Actually, you know what? Thinking back on it, it wasn't too bad because I had gone from playing with, whatever it was, 2000s to now being one of the oldest at my age because I'm a January birthday.
Right.
And I was already used to being a little bit more physical, and I was bigger at the time compared to everyone else. So it wasn't too much of an adjustment. And my coach, growing up all the way throughout AA, he really stressed skating. So, I had the skating. I could keep up with the game. So it wasn't too big of an adjustment. But then, it just kind of took off from there. And, you got to keep growing as the league gets harder and competition gets better as the years goes on. Yeah,
absolutely. So you go to Little Caesars for 2 years. We'll come back to it in just a second. But before you did, you had to make a little pit stop, pun intended, with Bell Tire. 1 year in Bell Tire. What was that experience like for you?
It was a really good experience. I originally went there because from my second year Caesars to the Bell Tire year, about 5 kids from that team switched teams. And one of the kids from that team, his dad's Brian Rolston. He played 18 years in the show.
Yeah, Andrews told me.
And so you know what? I mainly did it to follow him because I knew Bell Tire was a great place to play, and they had a lot of prestigious awards of state championship streaks. And so I went there. I loved it because Rolston was running our practices. They were the best practices I had. A lot of flow, a lot of positioning, and I just really enjoyed the experience because of Brian Rolston and what he did for us on that team.
What was the one thing that he said to you that you've kind of took throughout your hockey career so far?
Just work hard. He was one of those guys that didn't necessarily have to rely on working hard because he had all the skill in the world, but he really just stressed to us the amount of work that it takes to get to the level that he achieved, playing 2 years of college and then going straight to the show. Seeing his work ethic of how he coaches really drives you to step up your work ethic as a player.
Absolutely. That's very well put. So then you wrap up your junior hockey in Michigan by playing 3 more years at Little Caesars. So that's a total of 5 years you play with such a really prestigious junior hockey program. So out of the first 2 years and 3 years, now combining those years, making it 5 years, the biggest thing and your biggest takeaway from playing for Little Caesars for 5 years?
Just the guys. I met some of my greatest friends, even since we've moved on from them going to other places in the NAL or the USHL. We all kind of keep in touch, and we're all going to hang out in the summer, and when we see each other in December or whenever it is when we go home for a little bit halfway through the year. It's just they stress family, and I really felt that especially last year compared to any of the others.
And you've been playing with Andrews for 5 years, so what's it like to be able to continue to play with him here in Brookings?
You know what? It's pretty interesting. We fight like brothers because we've known each other for so long, and we're rooming together, and all the guys say, gosh, you guys are a married couple, because we've just known each other for so long that even the little things will bother us. But, at the end of the day, we're brothers, and we move past it, and there's no harsh feelings.
And what better than to have them follow together with you guys out to Colorado College, and we'll get to that in just a second as well. But you wrap up your junior hockey career out at Michigan, so you make the move away from Michigan. If I'm mistaken, this is your first year away from Michigan, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so you're away from your family and home for the first time in your life. You come to the middle of South Dakota, where it's about a day and a half drive, I'd say, back to Beverly Hills or back to Detroit-ish, something like that. So it's relatively far from home, and you're here for the first time on your own. Now you have one of your best friends with you, obviously. But let's focus specifically on the ice first. So obviously you're one of the guys that's just lighting the lamp for the Blizz right now. You're one of the leading scorers for the team, and you're relied on as that, like we talked about, the heavy hitter and the heavy scorer for you guys. And what are your personal goals for you this year besides winning a Robertson Cup?
Personal goals for me are honestly just to build my game and develop as a player, get used to the physicality, because college is going to be a whole nother level. And I want to develop thinking the game faster, because that is especially what happens now. You see a lot of guys it's got to be quick decisions. You get about 2 seconds with the puck unless you create more space for yourself, or you're getting shut down, or you're taking a body, you're taking a hit. Yeah. So it's a lot of moving your feet quick, making quick decisions, but also being smart with the puck and, keeping possession.
Now, Little Caesars, that is such a great place to play junior hockey. Are there a bunch of differences between playing with Little Caesars and Belle Tire compared to the NAHL? What are some of those differences? Is it the speed you mentioned?
It's the speed. It's the physicality. It's everyone's consistent. I know back at home playing AAA hockey, there'd be 1 or 2 lines of guys that were, really skilled and hard to play against, and then the other 2 were all right, like you can get around them. But here it's 4 lines, everyone buys into the system, everyone's working hard, everyone's driving the puck, and then you also have the first 2 to 3 lines are skill guys and will make plays. So it's really tough. I'm a little bit used to it because I had a little bit of junior experience playing or going to USHL camps.
Yeah.
I was able to develop it, and I'm a little bit of a faster guy, so the speed hasn't been too much of a difference, but you see more now that everyone is at the speed and not a couple of guys are fast.
You seem to have developed some really strong chemistry with Luke Aquaro on a line this year. I mean, at first it was you, Aquaro, and then Hayden Karnick as well, but now it's been kind of a shuffle between Johnson, and it was Magnified at one point. Mm-hmm. So it's just been kind of the shuffle, kind of an experiment, but you two have kind of meshed together. Kind of talk about that chemistry you formed with him.
We don't talk too much in the locker room, but especially now we do. A lot of it is he's a smart player. He's small like me, but he's fast. He can make good decisions with the puck.
Yeah.
And, he moves his feet and works hard, and I think we just complement each other. And, Coach has been stressing in practice. He pulled us aside at the beginning of the week. He said, once you two learn how to play with each other more with give and goes and plays like that, little chip plays and things, you guys could be lethal and really affect D because they won't be prepared for your speed. So I really hope that as we keep playing throughout the year, especially maybe even it'll come tomorrow, that we can really affect the game with our speed and with smart decisions because I know Luke is a smart player. Yeah.
Now, away from the rink, the fan base here is really strong. They love the Blizzard. They recognize you. I'm sure you've walked around town and you maybe been recognized every now and then. Hey, that's a Blizzard player. He plays for the Blizzard. Kind of describe what your relationship is like with the city and with the fans of the Blizzard.
It's a big difference going from where I am back at home because it's a lot more. We have a downtown area and it's a lot bigger. There's a lot more people, but
bigger city. Yeah,
it's a bigger city. But you know what? Everyone here has been so great to us. You go everywhere and you get such nice people. You meet them. There's such great customer service, and I think it really helped when we did the pump gas for cancer.
Yep, fun times
at Pump and Pack. You met a lot of fans, and I even met someone who their son is working in the same building as my mom.
No kidding.
Yep, back in Auburn Hills.
Oh, that's right.
Chrysler Center.
The Palace of Auburn Hills is how I remember that with the Pistons. That's really cool, though. Just that relationship that you build with the fans is ultimately that's one of the building factors of you leaving this place and going, what a great experience. Yeah. So speaking of that, you're going to be going somewhere next year, and you're not going to be playing junior hockey. You're going to the big show, if you want to call it that. It's NCAA. It's college hockey, Division I, and you're going to Colorado College. First of all, before we get into the actual part of Colorado College and just like the hockey side of things, what was it that first appealed to you and made you want to go to Colorado College?
You know what? I hadn't really heard of them at first, but when I first got my offer from there, my dad and I started to do some research. We figured out it was a small little private school. It's liberal arts. There's only about 2,500 people that go to the school. Yeah. So, it's a pretty small area, but it's in the heart of Colorado Springs, and it's a beautiful area.
It is.
When we stepped foot on campus, there was mountains surrounding the campus. It was sunny, and what the coaches, what they told me is it'll snow in the morning. It'll be gone by 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So, You know what? It's just beautiful weather. When we went out there in late October, we got 65 and sunny.
Wow.
And, it was just beautiful to be out there and to really – it was something new that I'm getting away from Michigan, and that's always what I've looked for.
Yeah. And it's a stepping stone for you because you're in Brookings. You're away from home right now. You're experiencing that life away from your family a little bit and kind of just becoming your own person. And I mentioned it. You get to go with another special person in your life, and that's Nick Andrews because both you guys are committed and you're in the same year. You're probably going to be rooming together. If I'm not mistaken, you'll probably be together.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another subject for another day. But going with Nick, does that really kind of bring you like a sense of comfort knowing, hey, I'm going to this place. I'm not the blind squirrel. I'm not the loner, if you want to call it that, on campus. You're going with somebody you know. Does that bring you comfort?
Yeah, it brings a lot of comfort, and we have about 3 or 4 other O1 commits, and we've met them all throughout camps in the summer, and really meeting those guys, every single one of them is such a great guy, so I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not going to feel out of place because we've met each other and we have familiarity. We've played against each other throughout youth hockey and everything, and maybe even this year in junior hockey we might play against a couple of the guys, and especially going with Nick, I'm at least going to know one guy for sure, and especially here, I learned to love everyone really quickly, and I'm assuming I'm going to have the same experience there. Yeah. And within the first week, I felt so comfortable here with everyone, and everyone just really strived to bond as a team really quickly.
And there's no doubt you guys will bond together. I mean, you're all there for the same purpose. But, we talked about, you mentioned how your dad and you had conversations about deciding to go to Colorado College. What was the big thing your thing that stood out when he was talking to you and said, hey, and when you went to him and said, hey, Dad, I want to go to this place. I'm going to do this. What was his reaction, and what do you think the level of proudness that he felt inside of him?
I can tell you what, he was really proud because we went back home. We initially missed our first flight back home, so we had to reschedule it. But we were out in Colorado Springs when I decided. I was on my visit. We were there for an entire weekend. I told him Sunday morning, hey, I kind of surprised him at first because he didn't know I was actually going to take the offer until we had the meeting with our coaches, and I took it right then and there. Yeah. But after he left, he was like, I'm so happy you did it, because he had been striving. He had been pushing me to go there, and hinting that that's where he wanted me to go over a couple other places that I could have gone. And you know what really pushed me to take the offer at Colorado College and not another offer that I had was they wanted me. They told me where they see me playing. They told me they like my game right now, but they want to see me develop. But they told me, where I could fit in once I get there. Yeah. And what kind of role and what effect I could have on their team.
And that helps that they lay out that vision for you. So that's good that you got that vision. And there's no doubt that once you get there, there's going to be good things that come both you and Nick's way as well. But support for the Blizz Show podcast brought to you by our friends at H&R Block, the part of the program telling you guys about H&R Block. Now, the tax reform is going to be affecting everyone's next tax return. So if you don't want to be surprised at your next tax time next year, you got to visit H&R Block to find out how it's going to affect you and your taxes. So if you are in the Brookings or the Watertown area, new clients, they got to go see Wayne Nigstad, and be sure to tell him that Weston DeWitt, the voice of the Blizzard, sent you for a 25% discount off your first tax preparation. H&R Block in Brookings is located at the University Mall, and for more information, you can call 605-692-5715. Again, that's 605-692-5715. Rapid fire time with Sam Antenucci here, the Michigan product. Now, we haven't been able to converse much about the Red Wings over the last 20 minutes or so because we've been hearing about his story and just the motivation and the what drives and Sam. Did I say Sam? I did say Andrews.
No worries.
Okay, everybody, including me, makes those kinds of mistakes. So Sam Antenucci, we asked him about his growing up childhood to Colorado College. Now it's time for the rapid fire segment. A little bit of Red Wings talk. So first of all, he has not seen these questions, by the way, anyway, so I'm excited to ask him the first one. Who's the Red Wings' next captain now that Henrik Zetterberg is gone?
I look at it, it's got to be Dylan Larkin.
I agree.
Young guy, a lot of talent, and, they got some vet guys, but I think they give it to a young guy and show what he can do because he'll lead by example, and he's been doing it now.
How would you feel if they gave it to somebody like Cronwall, like the older guy?
I wouldn't be too mad because he does have that experience, and he has the playoff experience more than Larkin does, and he can really drive them to get there. But I would like to see Larkin. If it goes to someone else, I'm not going to complain about it.
I wouldn't either. I think they got a bright future ahead of them. So I asked Andrews this question. When you go to Pepsi Center, because you're going to be in Colorado, now albeit you're about an hour away from an Avalanche game, so you got a little bit of a drive, but it might be worth it when the Red Wings come to town.
Oh, yeah.
So when the Red Wings come to town at Pepsi Center to play the Avalanche, are you and Andrews going to be rocking your Red Wings jerseys at those games? Proudly.
I will. I don't know about him. Maybe he answered this question yesterday.
He swore up and down that he was going to be doing it.
I will wear my Red Wings jersey proudly, and if anyone says anything about it, I will say I'm a Detroit-bred kid.
That's good. And you know what? It's not like you're going to get beer thrown on you because there's Red Wings fans everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like if I show up at Fenway Park in a Diamondback shirt, I get beer thrown on me, which almost did happen, by the way.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy.
That is.
I mean, those Red Sox fans are really good, though. They know they as contrary to when someone says they're throwing beer on you, you don't think they're good fans, but they actually are. are.
Oh,
They
yeah.
treated me very well.
Yep.
Question number 3. So there's a bunch of things you can do when you get to college, and the first thing that you're going to do when you get to Colorado College is what?
Maybe take a hike up the mountains.
That's a good choice.
Yeah, I know one our coaches will hike up Pikes Peak, and one of our coaches even engaged to his now wife there at the top of Pikes Peak. So you know what? Maybe not go all the way to the top, but hike a mountain. Really get used to the altitude change.
You know what? You're in good shape. You could go all the way up. You'd be fine.
I'm hoping I could.
I wouldn't be too worried. Now, one of the more popular things that we like to talk about with the rapid fire segment is video games. We've got a bunch of video game guys here.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm assuming you're one of them as well. So the two most popular games, at least between hockey players and your generation, are Fortnite and Chell. And those who don't know what that is, that's NHL.
That is
so
NHL.
NHL or Fortnite, what would you play?
I got to go with Fortnite. I'm sorry. Just sometimes playing with a sports player, they don't do what you want to do, and you rage too hard.
Well, what about playing as yourself? Be a my player mode.
You know what? That's true.
Yes,
they're always fun, but you know what? Fortnite is just so different that it's just a great game to play.
You know, I've never played Fortnite, so I guess I can't judge, but I just like NHL so much. Okay, last question here. I know Nick got a little upset at me for not asking him this question a few days ago, but now that Sam is here, we're going to give him an opportunity to answer this one and his friend as well. So, who plays Sam Antenucci in a motion picture film? And here's the kicker. So Nick Andrews is the co-star. So it's a story about you and your guys' life together. So first of all, who plays you, and then who plays him?
You know what? I got to go with my favorite actor, Tom Hanks. He's just a character. He can play anything.
He can.
And I love him in every single one of his movies that he does. So I'm sure he wouldn't do a bad job with my role.
Now, Andrews is tough. Off the top of my head, I couldn't think of some, but just somebody in mind who you're thinking?
You know what? He mentioned he thought about it for about a good 30 minutes yesterday preparing for the question.
Of course he did.
And just asked him today. He said Bradley Cooper would play him in a movie.
I heard that new movie of his is really good.
You know what? I haven't seen it, but I did hear this.
Something about Madonna or something.
No,
Lady Gaga.
Lady
Excuse
Gaga.
me. Thank
A Star
you.
is Born.
That's right. Everybody's been saying it's good, but okay. We got Tom Hanks and Bradley Cooper in the next motion picture, folks. Whatever title that is, feel free to tweet it or send in the comments box what you think the movie of Sam Antenucci and Nick Andrews' life is. We need to get a camera on you guys and do like an HBO documentary following you guys around.
Oh, I'm sure it would be very entertaining for people.
I would watch. I'd produce it or I'd direct it. I would put it together. I'd have to be a part of that in some capacity. But that's Sam Antenucci, folks, the Beverly Hills, Michigan product. Now, before he goes, we do like to make sure that you guys can follow these guys on social media and making sure you guys keep up with what's going on in their life. And Instagram is big with these guys. So where can fans follow you on Instagram?
On Instagram, it's my last name. So it's Sam_Antenucci, which is ANTENUCCI 14.
I didn't screw up your last name the first time I talked to you, and I haven't screwed it up on the broadcast either.
No, you have not.
So Mama Antenucci will not be emailing me. That's good. We don't want to get emails, but sometimes they're necessary. It just makes me a lot better. And exactly, it happens. It makes you a better broadcaster, a better hockey player.
Yeah.
Same thing with Mo. He tells you, no, do this, don't do this.
Yes.
Like, it just makes you a better hockey player. But that's Sam Antenucci, folks. Colorado College, here he comes. He's about to take over the Colorado Springs area on his hike he's going to go on. He's going to kick it there. Excited to see what his future is. Thanks for coming on, Sam.
Thank you for having me, Weston.
Appreciate it. That's Sam Antenucci, Weston DeWitt, Blizz Show Podcast. We'll see you next time.